Hello, my name is Melton, and I'm your Dungeon Master, and today we are learning about Chapter 2 of The Player's Handbook. First, we are going to be going through the Dwarf. Now, dwarves are fun to play because they're short, stout, strong, and very aggressive. There are two types of dwarf. There's the hill dwarf and the mountain dwarf. Now, if you've ever read The Lord of the Rings, that might make you think of the dwarves in the mountain, or the dwarves in the Iron Hills, which at the end of the last of the Hobbit movies has the cousin of Thorin Oakenshield come from the Iron Hills, and Thorin Oakenshield is of course the king under the mountain, meaning a mountain dwarf. They have dark vision, a speed of 25, and they're fun to play. Next, we have the elf. Now there are three types of elves. There are drow, high elf, and wood elf. First off, we have the drow, which are very, very fun to play. They are typically edgy rogues, and they are from the Underdark, which is a place filled with the most nasty of creatures. Next, we have the high elf. High elves, if they were in the Eberron setting campaign, they would probably have a suit, have a top hat, and have a little prim beard if their DM allows it, considering that elves can't grow beards. They'd most probably also be an artificer. But we're not into that yet, and that's not in the Player's Handbook. So, moving on, we have the Wood Elf. Now, Wood Elves are very good if you want to play a druid. And they also love trees, and they love the forest and the grass. And sometimes, even if you pick the right class, you can even talk to wood, trees, and grass. And it's also a speech that you can use. It's called deep speech, which is not very liked by Dungeon Masters, but it's also very useful and utilitarian. It means that I could talk to this sword here. I could say, "Hello, Mr. Sword. What is your name?" And the sword would say, "My name is Jeff," or something of that sort, considering whatever the DM decides. Or the DM could just be like, the sword doesn't respond because he's in a bad mood, because today his owner decided, I'm not going to be using this sword. Instead, I'm going to be using a flail, the worst medieval weapon in history. Next, we have the Halfling. Now, Halflings have this thing called lucky, which means if you roll a natural 1 on a d20, you get to re-roll. But this only happens once per turn in combat. There are two types of Halflings. There are the stout and the lightfoot. Lightfoot are a little faster, and the stout are a little more chunky and a little stronger. Next, we have humans. If you're a human, you're average. That's really all I can say. Next are Dragonborn. They're fun to play. Not fun to agree with your DM on how to use them. Because who doesn't want their Dragonborn to have wings? I know I would want my Dragonborn to have wings. But your DM might not like the idea that your guy can just fly up into the sky and be totally okay. So instead, wings are, for the most part, banned. Unless your Dungeon Master decides, hey, I'm going to let my player have wings. They also have breath weapons. And there's also this infinite debate on whether Dragonborn have tails. If you think they should have tails, or if you think that they shouldn't have tails, go ahead and leave that down in the comments below. And we can just see how many people think that they should or shouldn't have tails. And also, they're not related to dragons at all, actually. They are just their own race. They're not half dragons, they're dragonborn, which were created after dragons. After that, we have the gnome. Now, there are two types of gnomes. There are rock and forest gnomes. The forest gnomes, they're just gnomes. But rock gnomes have this little thing called tinker, which means that they can make little wind-up toys, or they can make tiny little explosives, and it's pretty fun. After that, we have the half creatures, which is either half elf or half orc. Now, a half elf is pretty much an elf, just with lower stats. And a half orc is like a human, but with better strength. Next, we have Tflings. Now, the Tfling is considered to be also in the half category. They have limited skin tones, no matter what the internet tells you. They can be pink, red, or the same skin color as somebody on Earth. despite what people say, because some people like to say, oh, yes, the Tfling, they can be blue, or they can be orange, or some stupid color. But no, according to the player's handbook, and most dungeon masters out there, they can be red, pink, or the same pigment color as some human on Earth. Now, as the half-children of demons and devils, they are very frowned upon, and they are, well, already magical in most ways. They have this thing called Hellish Rebuke, which means that they can set people on fire just by retorting a question. Let's say a person says, "Ah, Tfling, you're the devil's child. You must be evil." And the Tfling says, "Well, at least I'm not burning." Ah! Yeah, and then he's on fire. So that is episode 2 of this series, how to use the player's handbook quickly and efficiently. Hope you guys find this video interesting and helpful. And please comment, like, and subscribe. And if you have any video ideas for the future, please put that in the comments below. Thank you for watching. I'm your Dungeon Master, Milton Owens, and I really hope to see you guys in the future. See ya.